Hi there. Welcome to the Movie Vault, where every story has a secret waiting to be uncovered. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the recap.
At the start of the story, we are shown a prison known as the Shawshank Redemption. It is considered the most heavily guarded prison in the entire world. Thousands of inmates are locked inside this facility, yet not a single prisoner has ever managed to escape because its security is unbelievably strict. Some inmates have spent their whole lives inside these walls, but none of them ever dared to attempt an escape. The reason is simple. Anyone caught trying to escape is punished with death. The scene then shifts to a courtroom where we meet a man named Andy. Andy works as a banker at a major American financial institution. The judge announces that Andy will spend the rest of his life in prison for murdering his wife and her lover. Andy, however, insists that he did not commit these crimes, but Andy has no evidence to prove his innocence. Because of this, the judge orders that Andy be sent to the Shawshank Redemption for life imprisonment. Andy is transported to the prison along with several other inmates. When the new prisoners arrive, the older inmates begin placing bets. They gamble on which one of the newcomers will break down and cry during the night. Each bet is for a pack of cigarettes. Every old-timer selects a prisoner standing in the line outside. A prisoner named Red bets on Andy. Red believes Andy is innocent and that he comes from an educated, wealthy background. For this reason, Red assumes Andy will be the first to cry. All of the newly arrived inmates are brought inside in a single line. One by one, each prisoner is locked inside his cell. Night eventually falls and the older inmates begin shouting at the newcomers. They try to frighten them into bursting into tears. Their plan works when one of the new inmates collapses emotionally and cries, saying, "I want to go home." The guards arrive and try to calm him down, but when he refuses to stop crying, the guards drag him out of the cell and beat him until he loses consciousness. Meanwhile, Red realizes he has lost the bet because Andy never shed a tear. Red understands that Andy has a remarkable inner strength. Despite the fear and pressure, Andy did not make a single sound. The next morning, Red gives a pack of cigarettes to the person he bet with. Andy is then seen quietly eating his breakfast alone. Later, Andy meets Brooks, the oldest inmate in the prison. Brooks has spent nearly 50 years behind these walls. Andy carefully tries to learn every rule of Shawshank from Brooks, including small details and information about other inmates. Brooks shares all the secrets of the prison with Andy. Brooks also tells him that if he ever needs something from the outside world, he should ask a prisoner named Red. After hearing this, Andy immediately approaches Red. He tells him, "I heard you're the man who can get anything from outside." Red replies, "Yes, I can, but only things that won't help someone escape or harm another inmate." Andy then says, "I need a hammer." Hearing that, Red becomes suspicious and asks, "Why do you need a hammer? Are you planning to kill someone?" Andy calmly answers, "No, I'm not going to kill anyone." Andy says, "I don't have any enemies here." Hearing this, Red replies, "You may not have enemies now, but soon enough some people will become your enemies." Red points toward a group of inmates and warns Andy that those men have bad intentions. He tells Andy to stay away from them for his own safety. The next day, Red fulfills Andy's request and arranges a hammer for him. When Red sees the hammer, he bursts into laughter because it is extremely small. He jokes to himself that it would take Andy 600 years to dig through the prison walls with such a tiny tool. Red then asks Brooks to secretly deliver the hammer to Andy's cell. Time continues to pass. One day, while Andy is working in the prison laundry, 3 violent inmates corner him. Andy tries to escape, but he cannot fight all 3 of them at once. The men beat him badly and then assault him. This becomes a repeated cycle. They catch Andy often, attack him, and abuse him every time. 2 years go by like this. Then an announcement is made that a group of inmates is needed to repair the prison roof. A team is selected, and Andy and Red are included in that group. They are taken to the rooftop to begin the work. The responsibility for supervising them is given to a harsh guard named Hadley. Hadley is known for his cruelty and beats inmates for even the smallest mistake. While everyone is working on the roof, Hadley becomes frustrated and talks to the other guards. He says, "My brother recently passed away and he had money in his account. Now he has no family left except me, so I deserve that money. But the problem is that if I transfer that money into my account, the government will take most of it as tax." Andy overhears their entire conversation. Being a professional banker, Andy knows exactly how this money can be received without paying any tax. Without hesitation, Andy walks toward Hadley and suddenly asks, "Do you trust your wife?" Hearing this question, Hadley becomes furious and grabs Andy by the collar. He drags him to the edge of the roof, ready to throw him off. Before he is pushed, Andy quickly explains, "If you trust your wife and know she won't betray you, then you can transfer your brother's money into her account." He says, "The government allows a man to gift up to a certain amount to his wife in his lifetime, and it is completely tax-free." Andy adds, "If you hire an outside lawyer, they will charge you a huge fee. But I can do the entire process for you free of cost." Hadley pauses and asks, "What do you want in return?" Andy smiles and replies, "I want nothing for myself. When everything is done, just give all my friends a round of beers." The next day, all the inmates are sitting on the rooftop drinking cold beers. This proves that Andy successfully handled Hadley's financial problem. Andy, however, does not drink. He sits quietly in a corner, smiling as he watches the others enjoy their beer. His friends feel deeply grateful to him because getting beer inside the prison was impossible. But thanks to Andy, their long-lost wish came true. Time continues to pass, and the bond between Andy and Red grows stronger. A few days later, the prison organizes a movie screening for all inmates. Everyone gathers to watch a film featuring Rita Hayworth. After the screening, Andy approaches Red and says, "I want a large poster of Rita Hayworth." Andy asks Red because Red is the only inmate who can secretly arrange items from outside the prison. After making his request, Andy walks away. But the moment he steps outside, he encounters the same 3 men who previously assaulted him. They tell Andy to come with them. This time, Andy refuses. When Andy says no, they grab him and attempt to force themselves on him again. But Andy fights back with everything he has. Though there are 3 attackers, they still cannot overpower him the way they expect. They beat him brutally, leaving Andy so injured that he ends up in the prison hospital for an entire month. The ringleader of the group is punished with a week of solitary confinement. A week later, when that man returns to his cell, the officer whom Andy helped save money on taxes is waiting for him. Someone had lied to the officer and told him that Andy had beaten the man so badly that he was hospitalized for a month. Hearing this false information, the officer loses control and beats the man mercilessly. The beating is so severe that the man is left permanently paralyzed. 1 month later, Andy finally returns to his cell from the hospital. There he finds a large Rita Hayworth poster waiting for him, Red's welcome gift. Time moves on like this until one day the prison warden arrives at Andy's cell with a group of guards. They order a full search of Andy's cell. The guards search every corner but find nothing suspicious. Then the warden notices the poster on the wall. He says, "I don't usually allow posters in cells, but you may keep this one." The search was only an excuse. The warden had already heard from Officer Hadley how Andy saved him thousands of dollars in taxes. The warden now wanted to meet Andy for his own benefit. Andy has a Bible in his hands. Before leaving, the warden takes the Bible from him, but a few steps later he returns it and says, "Salvation lies within this." The next day, the warden calls Andy to his office. He tells him that a smart man like him should not waste away doing ordinary prison labor. So he assigns Andy to work in the prison library. The library is run by the elderly inmate Brooks, who has been managing it for many years. Not long after, Hadley enters the library with another officer. The new officer has a tax return problem. Andy solves it within minutes. Soon, Andy becomes well known throughout the prison for helping guards with financial paperwork. Over the years, Andy's workload continues to grow. Eventually, Andy asks for help and chooses his best friend, Red, to assist him. One day in the library, Brooks suddenly grabs a knife and holds it against the neck of a younger prisoner. He threatens to kill him without any clear reason. It is later revealed that Brooks' sentence has been reduced, and he is being released. But Brooks refuses to leave. He has spent 50 years inside the prison. Everything he knows, everything familiar to him, exists only within these walls. He has forgotten what the outside world looks like. For Brooks, prison is his true home. He believes that if he kills someone, his sentence will increase, and he will be allowed to stay inside the only world he understands. With Andy's calm persuasion, Brooks slowly lowers the knife and releases the inmate he was threatening. Soon after, Brooks is forced to leave the prison despite his resistance. When he steps outside, the world feels completely unfamiliar and overwhelming. 50 years have passed and everything has changed drastically. Where once a single car would pass on the road, now the streets are overflowing with vehicles. After a few days, Brooks begins working at a supermarket, but he cannot adjust to life outside. He feels no attachment to the outside world and constantly longs for the prison he once hated. He misses the routine, the safety, and the familiarity of prison life. He even considers committing a crime just to return to the only place he truly understands. But at his age, he doesn't want to harm anyone. Unable to cope with the fast-paced and crowded world, Brooks ultimately ends his own life. Before dying, he writes a heartfelt letter to his prison friends. When the inmates read it, they become deeply emotional. The story then returns to the prison, where the warden launches a new work program. In this program, prisoners are taken outside the prison walls to work on various projects. The idea is to teach them how to earn money through honest labor. The inmates happily accept the work because it allows them to experience the outside world. But the warden has a hidden agenda. By using prisoners as workers, he secures multiple business contracts. The prisoners work for almost nothing, making them extremely cheap labor. Local construction workers are unable to find employment because the warden completes projects using inmates at half the normal price. Since inmates are not regular laborers who need wages, the warden profits enormously. This profit becomes his illegal income. Andy uses his banking expertise to convert the warden's black money into clean, legal money. He deposits the funds under the identity identity of a man who doesn't exist. This way, if the authorities ever investigate, they will be searching for someone who was never real in the first place. One day, a new young inmate arrives at the prison. His name is Tommy, and despite his age, he has been in and out of several prisons. Tommy is friendly and outgoing, quickly making friends with many inmates. During dinner one day, he openly tells everyone, "I've been stealing for years. That's why I've been in so many prisons, and this time I'm here for stealing again." Hearing this, Andy calmly tells him, "If you keep getting caught, it means stealing isn't for you. You should stop doing it." Tommy agrees, realizing Andy's advice makes sense. Tommy then approaches Red to learn more about Andy. He tells Red that Andy seems extremely intelligent and polite. He wonders why such a man would be locked up. Red explains that Andy was once a successful banker, but he was convicted of murdering his wife and her lover and sentenced to life in prison. Hearing this, Tommy becomes serious, as though he suddenly remembers something important. He then calls both Andy and Red to talk. When they stand in front of him, Tommy begins to explain, "4 years ago, I was in another prison. While I was there, I met an inmate who told me that one night he broke into a house to steal. During the robbery, the homeowner suddenly woke up. The thief told Tommy that, fearing he would get caught, he killed the homeowner and the woman who was with him. Later, he found out that the two were not husband and wife, but lovers, and the woman was actually the wife of a very well-known banker." Sometime later, when Tommy read a newspaper article, he discovered that during the investigation, the police suspected the banker was the killer. So the banker was arrested and sentenced for murdering his wife and her lover. This is when we learn that Andy was innocent from the beginning. After hearing Tommy's story, Andy immediately goes to the warden and tells him everything, but the warden intentionally refuses to believe him. The warden depends on Andy for laundering his illegal money and managing his financial secrets. If Andy is released, the warden will lose everything: his income, his protection, and his hidden crimes. So the warden dismisses Andy's words and says, "I hear stories like this every day." Andy promises him that even if he is freed, he will never expose the warden's secrets. But the warden still refuses to listen. Seeing his innocence being ignored, Andy becomes furious. He says, "I helped this man so much, yet today he won't let me prove I'm innocent." Andy shouts at the warden in frustration. The warden immediately punishes him and sends him to solitary confinement for 1 month. After that, the warden goes straight to Tommy and asks, "Is what you told Andy the truth?" Tommy replies, "Yes, every word of it is true." Then the warden asks, "If the court calls you, will you testify about this?" Tommy confidently answers, "Yes, I'm ready." The moment Tommy says this, the warden signals to a guard standing above them. That guard shoots Tommy on the spot. Tommy dies instantly. Later, the warden goes to Andy and lies to him, saying Tommy was killed while trying to escape. But Andy immediately understands the truth. He realizes that the warden murdered Tommy to keep him silent forever. Andy thinks to himself, "This man is truly evil." Andy then tells the warden, "I won't do your work anymore." The warden coldly replies, "You will do my work. If you don't, I will make this prison a living hell for you." As the warden leaves, he instructs the guard, "He will serve another month. Keep him in the dungeon." The dungeon is a terrifying place where prisoners live in complete darkness for an entire month. Andy has already survived 1 month there. Now he must endure another month in that same pitch-black, suffocating room. News spreads across the prison that Andy is locked away despite being innocent. Every prisoner feels sympathy for him. After spending 2 long months in the dungeon, Andy finally comes out. Red immediately goes to him. Andy asks Red, "Do you think you'll ever get out of this prison?" Red answers, "Maybe, but only when I'm old and my mind stops working." Andy says, "One day I'll leave this place and go to Mexico. There's a beautiful beach there where people say you can lose yourself completely. I'll open a small hotel or restaurant. I'll repair my boat on the shore, and I'll need a man there to help me. Someone who can bring me supplies." Andy is actually talking about Red. Hearing this, Red replies that hope is a dangerous thing. It can push a person to the edge of insanity. You need to return to the real world. Mexico is far away from here. After saying this, Red turns to leave. But before he goes, Andy stops him and asks for a promise. Andy tells Red that if he ever gets released, he must do one thing for him. Red agrees and says, "Yes, I will." Andy then hands Red an address. He explains that when Red is finally released, he should go to a place where a beautiful tree stands in the middle of a wide open field. Andy says, "It was under that tree where I proposed to my wife." He tells Red that under that same tree, inside a wall, there is a black stone. Beneath that stone, he has hidden a box. Andy adds, "When you're out, go there and see what's inside." Andy leaves and heads straight to the warden. After completing his assignment, he places all his documents inside a special safe. Once the documents are secured, the warden hands Andy his clothes. He tells him to iron them and polish his shoes until they shine like a mirror. Andy returns to his cell afterward. That night, Red is filled with worry. He fears that Andy might take his own life. The night passes slowly, and morning arrives. As dawn breaks, all the prisoners' cell doors open and everyone steps out, but Andy doesn't appear. For the first time in 20 years, a prisoner had failed to come out of his cell in the morning. Red stares toward Andy's cell in fear, thinking Andy might have killed himself. Just then, an angry guard storms toward Andy's cell. He opens the door and his eyes widen in shock. The cell is empty and Andy has escaped. We then see the warden putting on his shoes. But inside the box, he finds Andy's old worn-out shoes instead of his own polished ones. At that moment, a loud siren echoes through the prison, signaling an escape. The warden races to Andy's cell. He sees that Andy is gone. He orders the guards to bring Red immediately since he was the one closest to Andy. Red is brought in. The warden asks him where Andy is gone. Red answers, "How would I know?" This infuriates the warden even more. He shouts, "Did he turn into a ghost and vanish overnight?" In anger, the warden grabs stones and starts throwing them at the guards and at Red. He even hurls one at the poster hanging on the cell wall, but instead of bouncing off, the stone passes straight through the poster. The warden pulls the poster aside and discovers a massive tunnel behind it. Everyone is stunned by the size of the hole. Breaking through such a strong wall without machines was nearly impossible, yet Andy had done it. He had escaped. All the guards rush to the exit point Andy used. There they find Andy's old clothes and the tiny hammer he borrowed from Red 20 years ago. This was the same hammer Andy used every single day to break through his cell wall. For 20 years, Andy worked patiently and quietly, without anyone noticing. Whenever he removed dirt from the tunnel, he hid it in his pockets and scattered it around the yard. The last time Andy worked for the warden, he secretly placed all of the warden's illegal financial documents inside the safe. He even put the warden's Bible there, right in front of him, pretending it was just another file. The warden didn't suspect a thing and simply handed Andy his clothes to iron. Andy first puts on the warden's freshly pressed clothes. Then he covers them with his own old prison uniform. He also slips on the warden's polished shoes and prepares to leave. That night, when all the lights go out, Andy finally escapes through the tunnel he spent years carving. He breaks a sewer pipe and crawls through the tight, suffocating passage. For almost 2 kilometers, he crawls through darkness, filth, and unbearable stench. And yet he keeps going until he reaches freedom. By morning, Andy walks into a bank where the warden's black money is stored. Every account is under the name of a man who does not exist. Andy himself forged the signatures from inside the prison and created all the fake documents years ago. So withdrawing the warden's money becomes effortless. Andy walks out of the bank with $370,000. He is no longer just free, he is wealthy. And now it becomes clear that Andy had planned this escape from the very day he entered Shawshank. The warden brutally mistreated Andy for years and even caused Tommy's death, so Andy sends all evidence of the warden's corruption to the media. By morning, the newspapers explode with headlines exposing the warden's crimes. When the warden opens his safe, he finds no documents, only his Bible. On the first page, Andy had written, "You were right, salvation lies within." As the warden flips the pages, he discovers a hollow space shaped like a hammer. This is where Andy had hidden his rock hammer for 20 years. Even the day the warden first visited Andy's cell, the hammer was still tucked inside that very Bible. Realizing everything, the warden is overwhelmed with guilt and fear. Reporters and police gather outside to arrest him. Before they can reach him, the warden ends his own life. After some time, Red finally receives parole. He is given a small job by the government, but he feels lost. 40 years in prison have erased his connection to the outside world. Red moves into the same room where Brooks once lived and even considers taking his own life. But then he remembers the promise he made to Andy. So he follows Andy's instructions and travels to a wide meadow. There, he finds a large tree beside an old stone wall. Under a black stone, he discovers a small box. Inside the box is money and a letter. The letter is from Andy. It says that Andy is waiting for Red at the same place he once dreamed about in prison. He reminds Red that hope is a powerful thing. Red then travels to the shore. As he steps onto the sand, he sees Andy repairing his boat. Everything Andy once described, the ocean, the wind, the dream of freedom, stands right before them. Red walks toward Andy. The two friends embrace after years of pain, struggle, and hope. And just like that, their story reaches its beautiful end. If this story touched your heart, then please subscribe to our channel. Your support means more than you can imagine, and it helps us bring more stories like this to you. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. Drop a comment and let me know where you're from. I'd love to hear how far we're reaching.